Hello, team. Welcome to this week's edition of our live stream. We have a very special episode for you. It is a Q&A with our very own Rick Holcombe. Let me bring him in. What's up, Rick?
Hey guys, thanks for showing up and ask some questions.
Yes, we are doing a special. Jeff is out of town this week, and so we decided to take over the live stream and do a Ask Rick Anything coin magic related type of segment. And we thought it would be a blast, chance to really delve into all the wisdom that Rick has and see what we can learn today. So he's too humble. He's too humble. No, but I highlight some questions that already came in from Instagram. You guys put some questions in the comments, and we will go ahead and get started. And I want to answer real quick. Somebody already pointed out, will you see us in Charlotte? Yes, we are coming to the Tricks Convention this week. Super exciting.
Yes.
We've been looking forward to it for so long. So we will see you there for it. Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started. We have a couple questions. Let me just kick it off with a really big question here. Rick, if you had one shot to if you had one shot to really wow someone, which trick would you use?
I mean, not to do a shameless plug, but I mean, Recoil.
Ooh.
Right now. I just have this sitting on my desk here, but yeah, it's something I've been doing for a few years now. I can almost do it in my sleep, and for that reason, if you pick something that you do, make sure it's something that's totally polished and you can't mess up on. So that's number one. Then number two, like with this routine specifically, it's something different. And when you can catch someone off guard, like, what seems to be a coin trick turns into like something else, you're really going to get a reaction out of that. And I mean, the effect in itself is good. It's not just the surprise factor. I've polished this over time, and it's become streamlined to where you take them on this little journey, and by the end of the routine, they're like, "What did I just see?" So
That's awesome. So Recoil would be the one that you would use. And once again, shameless plug, as he said, you can get that right now at copelandcoins.com. And some other people I just want to highlight in here mentioned, Shiloh says the pull my finger trick would be his choice.
Yeah, it depends on your crowd too, That could be the right trick for that moment.
It depends on the moment. But we had talked a couple of weeks now about everyday carry stuff, and that sounds like what Rick is saying. I think Recoil is a really good everyday carry thing to be ready. So just wanted to point that out. All right, on to the second question, Mr. Rick. Do you mentor people? Another question here from Instagram. Do you mentor people?
Yeah, I used to do quite a lot more. I think over the past couple years, I had over a dozen different people. Now I don't have quite as much free time, but also I haven't advertised that or anything. But if someone had reached out to me, I would do my best to try to set something up or work something out. But the problem I had with mentoring that I found is most people would stop after 2 or maybe 3 sessions, and most of the time they didn't specifically know what they wanted to do. They wanted to get better with coin magic, and so everyone was different, and I made sure to ask that in our first meeting. And so this guy wants to learn edge grip stuff, or this guy wants me to teach him the fundamentals, like from nothing to like intermediate. And so a goal of mine and Copeland Coins too is maybe just to make a modern kind of course. And this is an idea we've thrown around, and it might be out there in the future, I don't know. But the tough thing with mentoring was the commitment from the student. And I mean, I paid session by session basis, so it was up to them if that was enough for them, and they stopped. And
but is this something that you do nowadays?
I would try to help someone out if they reached out to me, and we could work out a time. That was another thing. At one time I had like 3 people at once going on, and you have to deal with the time zone factor. So I'm on the East Coast, and then one guy's in Los Angeles. I mentored a guy in Belgium one time, and so like chocolate? Just having he paid me in chocolates. Yeah, but now I'm mainly working with Copeland Coins, but I do have time, at night, and so it'd just be a matter of working out with that person and what their goals are, and then how long are we going to do this for. So
reaching out to Rick would be a resource there. And I want to stop for just a second and point out, I realize that we have a lot of our people who are normally here every week. Thank you guys for joining us again. But we also have some new people, so I want to make sure people know Rick is our in-house general editor for everything that we're doing here at Copeland. But he also has had a longer career in magic and all this wisdom and knowledge, and that's what we really lean on Rick for, is all the historical knowledge and everything. And he's the creator of 2 of our really big products, Sly Palm and Recoil, that just came out. So if you haven't seen any of this stuff, you might be confused. Who is this Rick guy? Rick is phenomenal, and we have him here because we know he would be a really good resource to ask anything you want about coin magic, anything that you're questioning or anything, as far as how you're performing, what you should perform, what you should learn. And so that mentoring question was a really good one that we got from somebody on Instagram. So I appreciate you answering that.
Yeah, if anyone wanted to contact me, you can find me on Instagram. I'm just Rick Holcombe, or Facebook, or you can email me at rick@copelandcoins.com. So those are 3 avenues.
There you go. It's the deets. And Shallows points out that this weekly chat is turning into a modern course. So our weekly live streams, they are. If you haven't, like and subscribe. Click the little bell button so you know every week when we're going live, and we would love to have you. Let's see. We have a couple questions coming in here from Scott. What comes to mind as an underused thing in coin magic, like let's say maybe a plot or a prop, or maybe even just a sleight? What's something that you would say, Rick, is underused, underrated, maybe people should use more?
Well, something I love, or I loved learning, but I always felt embarrassed or out of place trying to perform it, was coin and silk magic. And there's a lot of it. David Roth has a lot of that on his videos. Not his creations, but he teaches a lot of it. We're carrying this stuff now on the website. The old David Roth videos. But there's some cool stuff you can do with coins and silk. But it's like, it's kind of like a magic wand. Like, no one carries silk handkerchiefs anymore. And even the magic wand, there's a lot you can do just holding a magic wand to hide your, classic palming a coin. It's great to have a magic wand in your hand and disguise that. But as far as plots,
What about that? We were talking recently about that feather through coin. Isn't that's like an old concept too that's just kind of being revitalized recently?
yeah, I think that's Roy Cooper's gimmick. And what's cool about that? It's the cigarette through coin idea. The gimmick though is different. You can show this coin front and back, and then the feather's kind of weird, but the visual of it is fantastic. But if you let someone think too long about it, they'd be like, "Why are you putting a feather through a coin?"
I just brought that up because you said silk, and I was thinking there's so many things with silks going through coins or making coins vanish and objects going through. There's just some of those underrated things.
Some of my favorite ideas are, this goes back to David Roth, but whenever we're changing the physical property of the coin, like David Roth's eraser coin, or he has a great effect with silly putty. So it's like a sympathetic effect. Well, it's in the book, big book. But like going beyond the thought of coin magic as like a disappearance and then an appearance. Because I believe it was Larry Jennings who had some great coin magic, but he said one time, all coin magic is just vanishes and appearances. And if you think about it in that context, it's so true. Like a coin's a cross, a coin vanishes from this hand, and then a coin appears in this hand. But the story we tell the audience is that the coin traveled. It's the same coin, and it traveled over here. But methodologically speaking, like that's what the magician is doing. We're getting a coin to vanish over here, and we're getting a coin to appear over here. And same thing with, let's say, a spellbound. Okay, you've got a silver and a copper. We're telling the audience that it's the same coin and it's transforming, but really, methodologically, the silver coin is vanishing and the copper coin is appearing in its place. That quote always stuck with me because I was like, man, that's so true for every effect.
I think
so. Any plot that goes outside of that, I love. So like Recoil, or the eraser coin, the sympathetic coin. It's going outside of that vanish and appearance.
And just a side note, I think Larry Jennings was also the person who said that the one ahead principle was the only dang principle in magic.
Yeah. And
it's pretty true,
It is. It's crazy.
But that's a good point. Okay, so I'll tell you what. We got a bunch of questions that came in from Matthew. Nice to see you, Matthew. What if we just rapid fire them real quick? Because we got a list of questions still from Instagram, and I want to make sure we get questions and don't run out of time here. So Matthew asks about being a musician. Do you feel that the use of your fingers helps your sleights? You've talked about that before, but you want to mention something quick on that?
I mean, I'd like to think that, but I don't know if I wasn't a musician. It's hard to compare. If I didn't have that skill set, like would it be harder to learn coin magic? But I mean, it seems obvious to me, and I'd like to think that it does help with learning stuff and things coming a little quicker, maybe. I don't know.
Sure, that makes sense. He also asked, do you, and I'm curious, have you ever tried a different character other than the calm, collected Rick that we know?
Well, that's just me. I don't, I've never been a fan of like that mentality of like creating a character or becoming a character. That's fine. Like I know some people do that. Like they dress a certain way all the time. Like they want to embody that character, that style. In my life, first and foremost, I'm just a dad. I'm a guy, and I love magic, and so it'd be weird for me to. It would feel weird for me to do a character, unless it was like for a reason, for a funny reason or something. But I think the best advice that I've heard around is don't pretend to be someone else. Just be yourself, like amplified. So be yourself. Picture yourself at a party where you're the life of the party, but you're still being yourself. But be that version of yourself when you're performing, like the life of the party, Rick.
And
It's not like I'm someone else. It's just
that comes from Mr. Ascanio, that life
Yes.
of the party. Yep, it's a really good idea.
because that way, everything's gonna feel and come more naturally to you, because you're not trying to change the way you speak, the way you look, the way you act. You're just yourself, but a little bit more.
That's awesome.
S-
And Matthew had one more little thing here, which is you seem like you had a lot of inspiration from Okito Fly. Are there any future products using the box or adding your own outside the box material that you can think of, coin box stuff?
Yeah. Well, I put together the Okita Fly project. It did have an influence on me, and I love a lot of Ryu's handlings. Like, he tends to really streamline stuff, and there's a specific sleight that runs throughout that whole project that was so cool and like such an obvious thing to do, but I'd never done it before. And so I picked his stuff up right away, and honestly, I perform the routine Okita Fly like more than anything else right now, because it's all in the hands and stuff, and it's you involve the spectator, and it's just a great, not too hard routine to do. And then any future projects with the box, we're talking to one guy right now, but it'd be far off. And then to add to outside the box, yeah, so before I was with Jeff, like working, I kind of filmed a mini project just on my phone with some of my Okito box ideas, and honestly, I'd really love to redo that, refilm it, better quality. There's some stuff I left out of it, but and I have a few other Okito box stuff. Maybe that could potentially come out again. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll have to see.
No plans right now.
We'll have to see. Well, we have a few more questions here. These are great questions, guys. Thank you so much. I'm just going to kind of bounce it between the Instagram ones and the ones we have here. So another one that came from Instagram was, what hard to find or out of print magic books would you recommend are worth finding?
Well, the big one is Expert Coin Magic, David Roth, out of print, but really one of the seminal texts on coin magic. Also, Coin Magic, the book by Richard Kaufman, out of print. In my opinion, a must-have book. Trying to think.
Those are
I mean,
good.
those
Yeah.
are the
One
two
more?
big ones.
Well, I want to mention real quick to everybody a quick tip if you're looking to get those out of print books. Two things. Number one, the Surplus Magic Exchange is a Facebook group. Make sure you subscribe to Copeland Coins on Facebook, by the way. We would like that. But also, the Surplus Magic Exchange group is where people just kind of, it's almost like a yard sale for old magic stuff. Sometimes you see people's estates, I believe, and things like that, where they're selling off all sorts of old books and things. That's a good place to look for these things. But also get on there right about now during the holidays because people are trying to sell off things they don't use so they can buy new stuff. And you might be able to find Coin Magic or Expert Coin Magic in that group. So something to point out there. Let's see. We got another question here. How would you initiate a mentorship? Somebody was trying to get a mentor in Magic. What would you suggest for them to do?
A really great start would be going to a convention near you. Like Caleb and I will be at this convention coming up. It's a chance to meet dozens and dozens of people, and more than likely, if you're at a convention, more than likely it's near you, and then more than likely the other people there are probably live near you, or now we can just session over Zoom and stuff, so it doesn't really matter. But if you can get to a convention or an IBM club, or there's other types of magic clubs, just it begins with finding someone more knowledgeable than you are, and hopefully they live near you, because in my opinion it's best to like meet in person and have that like real mentorship. But even if you don't mentor with that person, they know people as well, and it's just a matter of building relationships, building contacts and a network. And I mean, nowadays there's a lot of good stuff even on YouTube. And just this past week I found an awesome guy. So I love card magic too. And so I just stumbled across this guy. His name's Sean Devine. And he's got some crazy good card magic tutorials. So if you want to brush up on some card magic, go check Sean Devine on YouTube. And that was something I tried to get going myself. Put like coin magic on YouTube, because there's not a whole lot of, in my opinion, like well taught and correctly taught coin magic on YouTube. So that was something during 2020 it kept me busy. It kept my mind off of, sad things going on. And I'd like to start that back up now. I was doing like weekly videos, and just haven't had the time lately. But I'm happy doing other things too. So yeah, even YouTube, you can not get a technical mentor, but there's a lot of quality content out there. And yeah, like I said, now we're so used to meeting on Zoom, you can create a mentorship through the computer. And ideally maybe you find someone to meet with in person. So there's the conventions and the clubs.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's how I met my first mentor, was through the convention, through a Penguin Magic Expo, if anybody remembers going to those. I think they might still have them, but that's where I met my first mentor. But We have like 2 more questions for you, Rick, if you're up for it.
Yeah.
2 more. All right. Here we go. First question is, how many coins is too many coins? You seen those
Two.
pictures where like it's like the spectator sees this and it's like one coin, and then
Yeah.
behind he's got like all these coins like on all parts of his hand.
I mean, that's a pretty vague question, but too many to carry in your pockets or too many to use in a routine? I don't know, but generally speaking, I'm kind of a minimalist when it comes to like what I'm carrying. So I have a few coin wallets that are set with different combinations of coins that, like, I might carry this one on me for a week or two, and then I'll carry this other one. But in here, I can do, over a dozen tricks, and a lot of those tricks, link together to do long routines. And so this set here is inspired by a Jeff Latta trick that I studied forever and ever. And then all of a sudden I came up with all this other stuff to do with this combination of coins. And then pretty soon this was all I carried on me. But then over the years I made the same connections with, like, oh, this other combination of coins, you could do this trick and this trick and this trick. And so I'll kind of mix and match what I carry, day to day. But normally I don't know if I want to say exactly what I carry on me. I want to keep this a secret. But
You keep it a secret, but you're saying minimal is kind of the way to go. Just use what you've got. We had a great live stream last week with Miles Thornton all about that.
Right. I'm just trying to get the most out of, like, this pack right here. And I did back in July for Alakazam. They reached out to me because Andy over there, Andrew Thomas, he found me on YouTube and then reached out to me and asked me if I'd do a lecture for them, for the academy, the Alakazam Online Academy. So if you're interested, I get no money from this. Like, they paid me one time. But I did one of my everyday carry ideas over there. So the whole lecture is built around one coin wallet and the combination of coins you have in there. So it's like about a dozen routines, and they all go together. So you can make it this long or this long, and I show you how to use all the coins in there. So yeah, I love getting the most out of very little. Kind of like John Bannon does with cards, or John Kerry. They just, the way they think, they squeeze all this magic out of, like, very few sleights, very few moves, sometimes very few cards.
And I want to point out, I got one question left, but Ryan made a point here. If someone like Ryan wanted to purchase that set that you carry in your pocket, could they? And before you answer, I want to hear what you got to say. But I think I know what you're going to say, because the first thing I thought was, how many years have you spent developing that set, Rick?
I don't know, man.
It's been a while.
Well, one of the big questions I had, like, starting out. So I learned from Bobo's, and it was slow. And after I got to be a little bit good, or I felt like I was a little bit good, I just was like, how do people go from one routine to the other? Like even watching professionals, I'm just like, that works so well. Like, I want to be able to do that. And like I had gimmicked coins too that I love to do, but I felt like I love that gimmick, but all I can do is like the trick that came with it, or the instructions. And I was like, I wanna use that in more ways. And how do you do it? So it was just that was a long time goal of mine, and it was just years and years. Sometimes things would occur to me, and other times I would sit down and like really think about it. Like, how can I do more with these specific coins? Sometimes you get more creative the more that you limit yourself.
Boom.
It's like, here's 3 objects. This is all you have. See what you can come up with.
So
and sometimes you get crazy ideas because you're not distracted by the possibilities, because everything's been narrowed down to like just a few things.
So my question for you on behalf
I didn't
of
even
Ryan,
answer the question.
would you trade all those years of developing that for somebody just handing it to you?
No, because that along with that development, I also developed a way of thinking about magic. So that bled into my card magic that I do, and all magic in general. Like, so I won't say like you can teach creativity, because I just feel like some people are just more creative than other people, but you can kind of teach. You can teach yourself and maybe teach others how to think differently, and a lot of times that opens the doors for creative ideas to happen. But yeah, I wouldn't trade the lessons learned from that, for anything.
It's all part of the.
But I will say for Ryan, you can buy this set of coins because they're just normal coins, but there's one gimmick in there, and it's a copper silver coin. And in my opinion, that's the oldest coin gimmick, but also the most useful coin gimmick. So I have like three different sets of coins that I keep together, and a copper silver coin is in each of those sets. I don't use it for every single routine, but it's in this set of coins I carry. So, and it's the most affordable gimmick you can get. So, and we just happen to have our own
copper silver coin. I mean, oh, look at the banner. Look at the banner at the bottom of the screen. Feel free to jump over to see our new Copeland copper silver.
Honestly, though,
we got one more question.
The way,
for you. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the way we make our copper silver coin is the best out there, because particularly when you get to dollar size, traditionally the copper silver coins are each coin is cut in half, and then the copper half and the silver half are glued together. But when you get to a dollar size, that edge is so thick. Here a $50 and then a dollar side, you get this really thick edge, so you start to see that seam. And if you're showing this on the copper side, you're gonna see that bright silver there. But the way we're making our coins is the silver is just, I'd say the ratio, if you were looking at the edge, it's like 95% copper and like 5% silver. So it becomes hugely important, like if you're wanting to use dollar size coins. But we make them the same way with the $50. But I'd say when you go down to that size, like a lot of people are making $50 copper silvers, but I still think the Copeland coin method is the best you can find out there.
Oh yeah, Matthew is saying, why won't YouTube let me like this video 1,000 times? So people are really enjoying what you're saying here, Rick. I got one final question for you, one final, and this is kind of a biggie. Um, what do you think is the future of coin magic? If you had to say, where do you think we're going, or what inspires you of things that you're seeing as the future of coin magic?
Um, well, we're gonna see a lot of, you know, just rehashing. That's gonna, that goes for card magic as well. Someone's gonna come out with the next 3 fly, and it'll somehow be cool, or cooler than other versions. But that's one of my goals in coin magic, is to it's fun to rework ideas sometimes, and then if you're truly advancing that idea, or if it's truly like a better method, then maybe it deserves a place out there in the community, to be sold. But I try to, like, if you've looked at the stuff I've released, like with Copeland Coins, or I've put a few things on my own, I try to put stuff out there that's actually adding something to the community. Like, I know you've mentioned, Caleb, that Garrett Thomas has this philosophy of, like, he won't release any of his material unless he feels like it's truly an advancement, or it's truly something that's pushed a certain idea forward. Mm-hmm. So I hope the future of coin magic is something that I can't even fathom right now. I hope it's something that's so fresh and so cool that I can't think of it right now. All I can think of now is, we will see more rehashing of old plots. And that's not a bad thing, because people come up with cool new methods to make a coin go from here to over there, or to hang in the air. That's fun. I like that coin magic. It's fun to play with. But as far as the future, I want to be totally surprised. So I don't know.
I like it. And the future is up to you guys here. So we are here as Copeland Coins to help and support you in your journey, and just being more of yourself, like Rick talked about earlier, and trying all these different things, getting all these resources he mentioned. I hope that you got a lot of value from picking Rick's brain as we did here. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Rick, for taking the time. And if you guys have any other questions, just put them in the comments below this video, and I'm sure we can get to those in the coming weeks here. We're going to be at Tricks Convention this week, but we will get to those in the coming weeks. So thanks so much for joining us, and we will look forward to seeing you next week. Make beautiful